Boom! This episode of Talks with KG is sponsored by Kanai Cleaning Services. Quality service at all times. Located out of New York, serving all 5 boroughs. They have been in business for over 15 years. Services include cleaning of schools, cleaning of hospitals, cleaning of houses. It don't really matter. Just link up with Kanai Cleaning Services. Their number is 917-200-4362 or email kanaienterprise.com. Also, Jave Auto AC, located number 182 Eastern Main Road, El Dorado, for all your AC needs. Right now the sun hot, so Jave AC is definitely a spot. Boom! Welcome to another episode of Talks with KG, where we keep it real and nothing else but real. And tonight we have another special guest. You know, since I've been on this journey of podcasting, you know, a few people been reaching out to KG, you know, lending us support and that kind of vibes. People who in the same space and probably also share the same passion. You know, and for people who know KG or they know me, I don't really like people too much. You know, because I just come with certain types of energies and certain types of intentions, you know, but sometimes when you feel somebody's energy, as I always say, real recognize real, you know. So tonight I want to introduce someone that, you know, been supporting the dog along the journey, you know, and I appreciate it. She's also a podcast host, entrepreneur, you know, and as she says, somebody that shake, what you say?
Moves and shakers.
Moves and shakes, you dig? So tonight I want to introduce my good friend, Trini, aka Trini Doll.
Oh my God.
Yes, sir, yes,
that
sir,
was
yes,
that
sir,
was
yes,
an
sir,
amazing
yes, sir. I think
introduction.
that was one of my best intros so far.
Yes, that
What
was
you feel?
so good.
I feel that's one of my best
I
intros.
think yes.
Yeah, because I say, right? Not
Oh my
again
God.
better, you know. As I say, real recognize real.
Oh.
As I say, people has reach out, you know, and you as a person who's look at the show, you see the types of people I will be interviewing, right?
Yeah.
Like mostly be like artists, producers, people in the industry, 1 or 2 little bacchanal might happen, I might bring them on the platform. But I don't really just bring
Any and everybody.
right,
Yeah.
you know?
You're very strategic.
Right, correct,
Yes.
correct.
I saw that.
You know, but as I say, real recognize real, you know, from the time we link on the Instagram and you message me, taking your whole vibes, I feel the energy immediately. I feel like you're on the same part as me.
Oh.
You know?
You make my heart skip a beat, boy.
Yeah, no, really. I feel like we had the same passion, and
Oh man.
I knew that if we have had a sat down,
Yes.
we would have it would have been a good one.
Yes. Well, first
know?
and foremost, thank you so much
Yeah.
for that. That was heartfelt. I felt every word you said.
Yeah, for
and I am
sure.
a true fan of what you do.
Yeah, I know
I'm
that.
a true fan of
I
what
know
you
that.
do.
I know that.
Because your
Yeah.
intention is in the right place. You know,
Yeah.
when I see you post, you're forever posting, like you putting in interviews after interviews. And this takes a lot of work
It does.
and dedication.
It
And you
does.
give everybody the same energy, the same effort. You know, I've never seen like, okay, this interview
Right.
was a little, you know, less
Mm-hmm.
effort from you because of who the person was.
True,
It doesn't
true.
matter. Across the board, you treat everybody
True.
respect, and it's good vibes.
Yeah, man.
And congrats to you on all you're doing, all the success. You're doing great things. I
appreciate
You're
it.
running up the numbers on YouTube. Only don't forget to subscribe.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. Now for the people, I know you, right? But for the people who do not know, who is Trini Doll?
Oh my God. So Trini Doll is a very interesting woman. I'm an entrepreneur. I've been dealing with business my whole life, but I've always enjoyed the entertainment space. I've always wanted to be a host, you know, like MTV. Actually, Ananda Lewis, may she rest in peace, was one of my biggest idols. I used to love Rachel from Caribbean Rhythms. I always felt like I had that natural knack to like get in front of the camera and talk and engage with people. And I've done it in a different space. So like in Atlanta, I do a lot of interviews, and when artists come, I will talk to them. That's why what you do is like so parallel, because I don't just talk to, you know, the business people, or I deal with them all the time working. I want to talk to people, you know, in the spotlight, because I want to know what's going on with them when the camera goes off.
Right.
Mentally, that's kind of like what I've been pushing, because, you know, mental health is a huge thing for me and my family, and I've suffered with it for many years. And it's been something that's very true to me. And I wish that, in our community, Caribbean community, that we could actually find the resources and have those conversations with people.
Yeah,
so I interview artists like, I asked Lyrical, like when he sang Happy Place, where did that come from? And that was one of his downest moments when he wrote that song.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of conversations I love to have,
So you are Trinidadian?
Yes, born and raised.
But you live
in Atlanta.
in the States?
Yes.
Yeah. How that transition happened though? From Trini?
So when I was 12, my mom had ran away with us. It was me, my brother, and my sister who's here tonight.
Right.
And we relocated to New York. We had no idea. I graduated primary school, Monterey RC. I actually swung by there today to show my daughter, my 10-year-old. We was in South. When I tell you I was in South all day, that's what we was doing. It was like just to show her, like, she's been here when she was younger, but her coming at 10 at such an age where social media is so like heavy and it takes away from who you are and your culture and your roots. She was able to see, man, mommy, you went to school there? She watching the Louvre, she ain't seen no AC, like, you know what I mean? The bathroom outside, like, whoa, you used to walk up this whole hill after school? Yeah, and there's those stories for her to be able to connect with meant a lot. So sorry for being late, but that was one of we little journeys today, San Fernando Hill, and I passed on my grandfather in Monterey. So yeah, we had relocated at 12. I had no idea. When I graduated Monterey RC, my mother was like, we move into the States and don't tell anybody.
Right.
It was a very scary-ish situation at 12 to know that you can't tell your friend who you just graduate with, hey girl, I'll see you next week, or we go to the movies or whatever. We can't do none of that. We just had to go because of the dynamics between her and my dad, and we had to just leave.
Right, and then you left, and obviously, you held on to your Trini roots.
Yes, that accent goes nowhere.
Yeah.
I've never lost it to this day.
Yeah. When you decided to go into the media world and the podcasting world, you wanted to interview Caribbean artists, like that they wanted to do?
Yes, I feel like, there's so much, everybody has their own space, and we are such a big people, like we are such, we support each other. Yeah, we have a little riff who have better roti skin and who have better curry and all of this, but as one Caribbean, we truly are, and we embrace each other's culture, each other's carnival, each other's music, artists, food, so as a collective, it's like, who is having these conversations with us?
Right.
So that's kind of how I was like, let me get it, because you have all your, your people who everybody know on TV. Everybody know your TV. The American people. But what about us? What about us?
Right.
Who's talking to us?
Like, correct. Who talking about us?
All right.
Yeah, but you do a lot of interviews. Like when I look at your page, you have done a lot of interviews, right?
Yeah.
In the States.
Yes.
How you get these artists to come on your platform?
So Lady Lava was actually the last one that came on. She had came to perform. Yeah. So because I've been in Atlanta for 20 years now, 20 years, yeah. Actually 19, because my daughter is going to be 20, my oldest. I used to always do people insurance. So I was the insurance agent for the community. Right. Girl, I need to save some money. They come in. I mind you, I'm in party. A couple smokes in and drinking, and I still networking because I'm a natural networker. That's what I love to do. And I went from that to, getting into hosting. And hosting in Atlanta is very different than most places. Like hosting here is more like maybe MCing, right?
Hosting, of course, is like club appearances.
Yeah, like club appearances, that type of stuff. But then I was like, yes, I know I have a pretty face. Everybody have a pretty face, but I have something else. I want to talk.
Right.
And I have those conversations with people. So, I kind of created my own thing, and I worked with other people before, and I say, I'm going to do my own thing. But I've always done the talking to artists, and Marshall was there. Well, he's a hard one to get to. I don't know. I could have waited there, but honestly, they had a fight before, and I was like, let me get out of here. So, it's not hard for me to get to any artists because I know all the who's the who in Atlanta.
Right.
I know all of them.
They could connect the dots.
Yes.
Which interview you think was the most impactful this far on your platform?
Shoot, there's so much different ones. I mean, we talked about so many different things. I always think about it. It's always what somebody took away from it. Because I could do like a major artist and somebody will sit down and they'll be like, I didn't really get nothing from that. So it's always what the person who was listening took from that. Like, Lady Lava was a one that always stuck in my head too, because she dug into so much about Nishagonas when she used to hustle.
Right. Her
You
come
know,
up.
yeah, and she
Yeah.
used to be selling things, and she just talked about, you know, this regular people that, you know, this guy that went crazy, and there's the mental
Yeah.
side of things that people in this community, we quick to, oh, he's a madman, they crazy, whatever, but people really are going through some shit, man.
No, mental health is a serious,
Yes.
serious thing. How when you link, man, you say, you know, you want to do the sit down. You specifically told me that mental health was something that you wanted to speak
Yes.
about.
Yes.
Why you want to speak about mental health so much?
Because one is dear to me, and for somebody who suffered with it, like I said, for many years.
You
I've-
suffered with it?
Yes, I've been depressed. I've been in a mental institution for 72-hour hold. I have been very angry. I've done some fucked up shit to people. I've done the slashing tires, breaking windows.
Damn.
I've done it all. I've wrote bitch ass nigga on
Yeah.
somebody's car. I've done it all. Like, and I have
Crazy,
no shame.
crazy.
I'm not. I'm not like I'm embarrassed, because that's who I was at that time, and I was going through so much. I didn't know how to deal with my shit.
You didn't even know it was
I didn't even
mental.
know. I was just like, oh, this is normal.
Right.
Until I'm like, this shit is not normal. The psycho kind of, you know, the watching phone and digging in this and
Right.
investigative, you know.
Right,
You're a
right.
good looking fella, I'm sure.
Crazy,
And you're,
crazy.
right, you know, the
Yeah.
relationships we've all had.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
was that person, and I didn't like being that person. You know, I had dark moments. I, you know, played things back in my head, past relationships, you know, and I carried a lot of guilt, a lot of hurt, pain, anger, a lot of it, and I just didn't know how to deal with people or communicate. So
Yeah.
I had to find the ways to do it, and is when my husband sat me down and said to me, "You need to get your shit together, or I'm out." Is when it really hit.
So it was crazy while it was with you.
Yeah, well, yeah, I was very crazy with he. I was crazy, and it's not. He's a great guy. It's just
Right.
I had my own insecurities as a female, you know, and people would look at me and be like, "Oh, you're a beautiful woman, to me. Why be insecure?" Everybody, that's what people get lost. It's not about looks. It's about how you love yourself and
Of
how you
course.
feel about yourself.
Yeah.
And it took a lot of self-care and him encouraging me, like, oh my God, love on yourself. You're so hard on yourself. It's okay. It's okay you didn't close that deal. It's okay with this. And I just learned to just fall back and just embrace the moment and being in the space.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why mental health is so important. And plus, in my family, I have a lot of, you know, family members that have suffered with mental health. I've been on medication. I've been on Prozac and sertraline and you name it, I've been on it. Seroquel, all kinds of stuff. I've been on these medications that I know what it does to you. It numbs you. It doesn't really fix you. It doesn't help you. And so much of us, first, we don't have the help. First of all, we don't even talk about needing help.
Right.
You know, so you carry so much. Like, I've watched my grandmother get to a stage in her life where she's suffering because she didn't, when we were in New York and she came up there with us, and for all the years she worked and held us up as a family, she never get to talk to nobody. She didn't have a buddy like, hey, boy, you know, today I real stressed, this, what. She kept everything inside to where she internalized, and it literally started eating her out, literally. Like, cancer came and everything came, and that whole stress factor, I feel like if people understand how to just hey, how you going today? Like, and really mean it. Like, how are you? Like, you might tell me something and I might be there for you, and you might have feel like running into the bus.
Sure.
You understand? And if people could just slow down and just be human, like, we all go through shit. We're all human. We're gonna fuck up. We're gonna say something offensive. We're gonna say something good. We're gonna say something bad. But just be genuine with people, man.
Yeah. Be there for each other.
Yeah, be there for each other. It's like,
know?
we're only here for a short time.
Yeah.
We're only here. People feel like they're here forever to be doing shit to people. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's a real thing. But mental health is definitely a real thing. I think it should be number one on our list.
Yes.
Because, I mean, I just see it every day. I literally have friends that, as we Trinidadians call it, they're going mad.
Oh, wow.
You know? And I remember growing up, my mother would be driving in the car and she would, like, show me vagrants on the road.
Wow.
And she'd be like, he used to be a teacher, you know.
Wow.
He used to be a national footballer, you know.
Wow.
You know, mental health. And I never used to believe it. And then growing up now, getting older, same friends I used to be playing football with. Plenty of them is, you know, vagrant, who
Wow.
is piper, who is, you know,
That
has
is so
mental
sad.
health, you know.
Let me ask you, why do you think, so these are people that you know personally,
Yeah,
right?
good Good friends.
So what do you think, just, off of, you live here, you've lived here your whole life. What is it? What is it you think that makes people snap or just get to that, like they're friends, right? What if they come and be like, dude, I'm going through some shit. Why is it that people can just talk to each other? What do you think it is here in Trinidad? Because I look, everywhere I drive, I be like, I don't see no billboard about mental health if you're feeling some kind of way.
We have a serious mental health problem.
Yeah.
When you look at the crime and thing, like people think that is just, that is also mental health too. Like little boys that the pressure getting to them. And, and I just see it firsthand, like the pressure that's really get to them to the point where you will literally see them deteriorating.
Wow.
Like you see it in stages, They go from being very normal, and then they are no money, they are nothing, the sun hot every day, you're just there, and you see men mental just deteriorating week by week.
Wow. Until
they crash, and it's a sad thing. But I talk about mental health with my friends a lot, like I had a brethren. I wish he could have come and sit down here right now. In the back right now. He wouldn't even feel shame if I talk about him, because we have those conversations.
Yeah.
But he was going through something just the other day. And I think like he had drug psychosis.
Oh.
But he didn't even know. Because where you from, nobody don't care about these things.
Right.
And you see in a youth man, he paranoid, he moving mad, and men just laughing at him and saying, he going mad. He going mad. And I had to tell him, I was like, bro, I think you need to go and get help now. Right? And he went and he recovering right now, bit by bit. But I just see it every day, different forms of the youths, literally. I have friends that their parents pass away, and like you're seeing it now, you're seeing that they can't take the pressure and they don't have nobody to talk to.
Yeah.
They have a brethren like me, they're real happy. Because at least they could get to talk to somebody.
But not everybody have a you.
And not everybody have a me. Majority of people don't have a me.
So then what happens to those people, And that is to back to your question of why this is a space that I feel so passionate about, because even just being from Trinidad alone, even though I do interviews in the States, is more Caribbean artists and stuff like that, but my thing is, yes, we need to have these conversations.
We need to have conversations,
we have great music, food, carnivals, you name it. But what happens when these people go home? They're on a high in the party, everything good, whoop whoop. But then when you go back to being sad, depressed, So how do we stay on that high as humans? How do we keep that momentum going? And it starts with loving yourself. It starts with loving yourself.
I mean, you are someone that admit to having mental health issues.
Yes.
Growing up. You could literally admit it. Right? That means you face it head on. A lot of people ain't reached that stage yet, where they could admit that I feel something wrong with me. I feel I need help. Like you tell somebody they need help, they might think you're disrespecting them, But you are somebody that face it head on. What you would, say to someone that probably really slashing tires.
Yeah. That
temper,
anger is real.
Temper out
that
of
anger
control.
is serious, I'm telling you, yeah.
Are you thinking it normal?
Yeah.
What you would tell someone?
I think everybody should get somebody honest in their life. Just even if it's one person, that regardless of what, I need you to tell me if I getting fat, if I getting rude, if that outfit there look, I need you to tell me. I want to have that honesty with somebody. And maybe, I think when people, during life, like we as kids, we get in trouble in school, you get in trouble in work, you get reprimanded, you get write up, whatever, you get fired sometimes. We go through so many different things when we get in trouble. We do things we wasn't supposed to do, right? So along the way, if you're depressed or something, you know when you're battling something, But I sometimes feel people it's not that they don't need help, they don't know how to ask for help, because it's such a stigma with Caribbean people with, like growing up, when we were small, we used to drink Sanatogen, we have nerves. And I grew up always hearing we had nerves, and believe it or not, that triggered me into like anxiety before why do you think I said, I'll smoke? Because not that I'm a regular smoker, but it takes the edge off. I had a shot before I came, because I get in my head space so much, but I was able to use my anxiety as my superpower. So I get a lot done. I get a lot done.
Yeah.
You know, but for people
Likewise.
who, you have to kind of know yourself. You got to know if you're pissed off today, you're angry. And if somebody tell you, like, oh, God, what's wrong with you? And you lose friends along the way and people telling you, listen, get your shit together, you have to listen. Just take heed and listen.
Yeah.
It's okay to just let the pride go and say, you know what, you're right, I need some help. Where can we get some help? But a lot of people don't want to admit that.
Yeah.
I think pride gets in the way.
Like, I never see that culture in, at least in my generation, I don't know, but I never saw that culture asking for help.
Yeah.
I mean, help for mental health. You know, like, what does that look like? That is what I would ask. What does looking for help for your mental health look like?
It could look like different things. It could be, you know, like, it could, like today I was having a conversation with my mom. Well, my mom is very anxious, very, and she's 65. And it worries me because I'm like, Mom, you gotta slow down. So it is a matter of like having honest conversation. And then, okay, well, what could I do differently? You know, I try to be more mindful, like she's conscious of it. So somebody at 65, if they could be like, listen, I'm conscious of it, I think there's hope for everybody. But they could ask in different ways. It could be, you know what it is? Sometimes people don't even have to ask. If the other person on the other side is listening, they will hear the question.
Yeah.
They will hear it. Because if you're really listening to your friend, and you hear their voice, you hear their tone, they sounding down, and sometimes you know you're a little prideful. You don't want to be like, you're like real sad today, yes, oh God, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know, now I getting real tired of life. You're like, I have nothing working out for me, this, and you know, okay, no problem, all right, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Like, you just missed the whole thing.
Yeah.
Versus like, man, what's going on with you? You want me to come over? Like, what's going, talk to me.
Yeah.
I think people don't really listen to people.
True.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
people don't
true.
really listen. If they really listen and really cared about the other human being they're having a conversation with, you will hear so much cries in their voice and in the conversation and the things that they say and the way they move and they operate, or, you know, you could tell. You could look and see if somebody is sad or struggling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's for you to want to see it,
Yeah.
you know?
It's a real thing.
And I think people who struggle just want to be seen and heard and understood and not judged.
Yeah. You know, to have you know, Kyle Boss, who's been doing them skits on them. The
Yes,
comedian.
yes.
Right. You know, he have a lot of skits on Caribbean
Parents.
parent trauma. Right? But that's a real thing, right?
No, it's
because
true.
I just look at his things and I just be like, dog, I went through everything like that. My mother just come home and
What are you doing lying down?
trip off, dog. It was like, what's this, man?
Yeah.
Like, you know, very traumatic now. And also too, therapy, right? People don't talk about that
No.
in my country, you know. That is more like an American thing.
Do they have the resources though?
Right, so I was going to get to that. At times, I wanted to see a therapist, and I didn't know where to find one.
Shit.
Yeah, and I find that was a problem. You know, like where can I find a therapist? You know, and not only just a therapist, but a good therapist.
Right.
You know, so I realized that was a problem also. That, as you say, we don't take it serious.
Yeah.
And I think it should be number one on the list.
Yeah. It is.
You know.
It definitely is.
Yeah, and therapy could be anything, you know, because like even myself, I was going to certain areas, and youths will come up to me and ask me a million questions, and I will answer everyone,
Wow.
you know, because I know that and all therapeutic for them, because the world don't treat them
Yeah.
like that. You know, they come and asking these dumb questions.
Yeah.
Nobody want to hear you. And that is the problem right there now. You know, nobody not listening.
Nobody's listening.
You know, nobody not listening. So
People are so invisible.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember we was in the car just the other Chinese, and we pull up by the traffic light. You was there? And a vagrant sit down right on the side of the road, but he right next to the car. And when we turn, we jump now because we didn't even see him there. And I watching all the cars passing. And I tell him, my brother in the car say, look how life is, eh? He sit down there, and the world just passing by. Hundreds of cars just passing by. Not one person stop and think about that man. Not one by, nobody by. Things that I just look at.
Yeah.
You know, that is how I am.
Yeah.
You know, that's why mental health is important to me too.
Yeah.
You know, so we could talk about this for hours and hours and hours. when it comes to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel you. What else want to talk about? I know we have plenty to talk about, you know.
No, I mean, so being that they don't have good therapists here, what would
Yeah.
you suggest, to the youth? Because, like you said, a lot of people, they look up to you, the guys,
Yeah.
like as a mentor, as a big brother for some advice. So being that they don't have the resources here, what could we do as a community within ourselves that, in your opinion, that we could at least create something? It don't have to be something monetary. I think people think that everything has to do with money.
Yeah, correct.
No, it could just be meeting at the savannah every Friday from 7 to 9.
Yeah.
And everybody do a scream it out or some shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. But what could we do that we could start creating some kind of, start making some noise about it, because it's very important. It's very, very important. And it's so sad.
Yeah, but that's why
so sad.
conversations like these are very important to me too. Especially on a platform like this where we don't really talk about mental health on the
Right.
platform. So when people log in now and they see that, mental health is being spoken about, I think that is very important. I remember a time Trinidad Killer was on our live and he bashing them
Yeah.
artists and them now. But I listen to everything people say, and he say them artists don't even talk about, and he lists out a certain things now. And it's so true now, like nobody in high places are speaking about these things.
Yes.
So how
And he was spiraling out on some lives. He was spiraling.
Yeah, no,
you could watch and see,
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you, because I don't know, I don't keep up with you would be more in the know
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
music
yeah.
side of things, the behind the scenes, right?
Yeah.
And not to put nobody think it was public information. Do you really think it was such a big deal with what he did? See, I'm looking at it from maybe like just a human brain, like, oh my God, he came up with a song that was really good, like keep it moving.
Yeah.
But I know there's, politics involved and legal stuff involved and stuff like that. But do you think it should have created such a big buzz?
Nope.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I was like,
As you say, he do the song, people like the song, let the song go. But that topic was a heated
Yes. Yes.
discussion.
Oh yeah.
People, like, no matter how much I talk about that, people will always, a lot of people who would agree, but other people will say KG,
Yeah.
copywriting and da. But it's so much deeper than that.
Yeah.
And every time I speak, I will always speak from a deeper place now.
Right.
And I guess society, well, parts of society could never relate to that. Just like how I would see the vagrant on the side of the road, and I would be the one to sit down and think like, wow, nobody don't care about you, boy. While everybody just starting to reach home. Like, that's how I see life on a whole. So if I see a man do a song, a black man too, a black brother, who all fighting the fight, trying to do the right thing, and he do the song, and the whole country love it, everybody love it.
Yeah, man.
Why not just say, you might not do that all the time, but you could do that in that instance. But everybody will see it different.
Yeah, I also, to piggyback on that, I feel like because that song hit so many people's hearts,
Yeah.
that is what was a problem.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
so much people could relate to that song. And I actually interviewed Trinidad Killer, and he asked me, he said, what's the favorite part of the song for you? And I said, big up to the people who just fight for we.
Ah, boy.
Like that,
Yeah.
for anybody who understand that
Yeah.
line,
Yeah. And it's only if you're on that part you would feel
Yes.
that energy. So a lot of you just can't relate to that
Yeah.
type of energy, and that is how the thing's set.
and he dressed back, he's like, really? I said, yeah. He said, why? I said, because everything is explanatory. You understand the song.
Yeah.
But when you big up to the people, because there's so much people who fight and they fight for us. Like,
Right.
I think about my
It's a
grandmother,
fight.
my mother,
It's
who
a fight.
started a whole new life in another country,
Correct.
and where are we now, and we just want to keep passing that baton on to
Correct.
make the other generations proud, and
And I
just
see what you say there. Make the you first of all, you spoke about your grandmother. And
my
then you
grandmother
came
have my
down.
heart.
Right, and then you said, I grew up with my grandmother, so I understand that. And then you also said, pass on to generations. That's how we see things.
Yes.
A lot of people want to die with things and put it in the casket with them now. And that is the problem. So they fight for nothing.
Yeah.
You
There's
know?
no legacy.
They fight for the self.
Yeah.
But they don't fight for nothing. If you in control of something, you should want to pass on. You should want to bless people. But again, when I talk about it, there's vex with me now, but I will always talk about it and I will continue to talk about it. You know, it have things that need to be changed and rearranged now. You know, and it goes deeper than just men singing songs, and it goes deeper than that. You know, the only way for this thing to thrive, and you know, we need to be there for each other.
Yes.
And treat each other good, and just be good people.
That is it. That is it. Yeah.
Character is everything.
Cheers to that, man.
Yeah. Big up
Shout out
Rude
Boy, yes.
All the time.
Yes, I done feeling it already. I put a couple pounds in my legs.
Yeah. So, how is the space in Atlanta when it comes to the Caribbean vibe? So if I come across there and say, you know, I want to do podcasting, and you think it will work for me? Because let me tell you something. I think you could give me good advice on this. I have plans on, I don't want to call it migrating, because I could never see myself living my entire life in USA.
Yeah.
I'm a Trinidad man to my heart. I'm a Rima man. I like river. You know, I like doubles. I like
roti, $10 roti.
$10 roti. You know, that's what I like. You know, but I want to branch off and come to the States
of course.
also. You know, you think it will work for me? Be honest.
I think it will work for you, but I think your niche is here because you are in with the artists that don't get
the ground.
They don't get the exposure that they deserve.
Right.
So, you know, everybody think America, right?
Right.
The Caribbean is so big. Like this, it's really big. Like you could lock down the whole Caribbean. You know, not just Trinidad.
True.
Other islands, other artists, look like. I love the interview with Lola Doll, by the way.
Big up Lola. Yeah.
She is such a character.
Imagine that, Lola is Guyanese, and that is one of my biggest interviews.
Yes, she is such a.
Yeah, big up Lola. All
yeah,
the time,
man. Listen. So I find myself like singing. I'm like, why are you singing?
Yeah.
Come downstairs. Come.
I like Lola. Man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You know why? She's authentic.
Correct.
She's authentic. She's comfortable in her skin. She don't give a shit what nobody says. She's being who she is, and that's what we have to do. I think sometimes we think so much about what other people think, and sometimes these people are not even thinking about us. We think they're thinking.
True.
But to answer your point, you will. Atlanta's a good space, but it's everybody and their mother doing a podcast. Like it's been like, but here in Trinidad is not a big thing.
Yeah.
So you locking down this whole region. Everybody in Atlanta have a podcast. Like when they do the Black Effect podcast, like all the podcasters go on. Different podcasters from different states will come to that because Charlemagne the God does that from the Breakfast Club. So they do that all the time, and it's crazy. So,
but you don't think like what probably I could bring to the table might just be a little different?
It would be a little different, but the thing is, who's gonna be the artist and crowd when you have when you have a niche here with anybody locally, and then people already know who you are, and you're growing. Right, so it's easy to just hop on a plane and go to another island, hop and go. You can lock down the whole Caribbean because nobody's doing podcasting like that. I don't know anybody doing a podcast. Actually, no, I saw two other girls.
It have podcasts, but I guess my podcast is a little different.
Yes.
And the consistency too a little different to how people might do it, you know.
But you are.
You know Corey Shepherd? Yeah, he have a nice podcast right now.
Okay.
Had some viral clips going around with his with Freetown the other day. Actually, I probably see it pass.
Okay.
Freetown. He was talking about Trinidad and Jamaica have this rivalry, and that went viral.
What's the rivalry about August?
Big up Corey Shepherd. They have a few. But I was thinking that I wanted to come to the States but I'm scared at the same time now.
Nah, what you doing here is working.
Yeah.
Because you know it's working because you have the viewership and it's growing and you're having deals and you're doing more link ups and more collabs with people and you know what I mean? So when you exhaust this pond, then I would if I have a good thing like you here in Trinidad and you already people know who you are, you're artist, producer, you're in the music industry, you have access to Sizzler came and was doing an interview with you, you know what I'm saying? The journalist Akash. Right, you see what I'm saying? Like you're a man of the streets, so you know how to get to these people. You're a natural hustler. So you could, and you've articulated very well. So I would stay here and lock this whole shit down.
All right.
I would lock this shit down.
You understand? But how is it in Atlanta, as I was asking you?
Atlanta Caribbean community, I love it. Big up to all the promoters, everybody. And my liquor podcast sponsor is Rum Punch Brunch. I don't know if you ever heard of Rum Punch Brunch.
Yeah.
It's the biggest brunch in Atlanta, like hands down. Biggest brunch, 4,000 people easy every Sunday. And they make their own rum punch. It's Jamaicans who inspired mainly, but it's Caribbean. It's amazing. Like, imagine every Sunday going to a brunch, food trucks, and everybody come out. And the reason they're so big is because the Atlanta African American community embrace it. So imagine going to the heart of Atlanta.
Yeah.
In Atlanta, Caribbean people could usually only do events in certain areas because that's where all the Caribbean people settle, or they go, Covington, Conyers, on the east side. Few promoters get into Atlanta, and I know that because I do the insurance.
Yeah.
So when they can't get the permits and stuff like that, it becomes a little hard, so they stay on the sides where they can get the business done. But they were able to get into the city and like literally infiltrate that to where the locals in Atlanta, any and everybody know who Rum Punch Brunch is. So things like that make me so proud as a Caribbean person in Atlanta, because there's so much growth potential. And the American community, as much as they are the southern, the deep, deep south, they love Caribbean music. The biggest DJ, Mixmaster David in Atlanta, he's Jamaican, also a client of mine and friend, so you know what I mean. But I know these guys, and I watch them grow. I've watched them like small events to big crowds, and the collabs they're doing with I Love Soca. When I go back, we have I Love Soca on Friday. They're doing Daybreak, which is from Jamaica. They're Jamaican based, but even a lot of Trinidadians are doing events too. They have the Cooler Fest. We do everything in Atlanta. I think because the community is so small, everybody knows each other, and you rarely have any drama or fighting, or everybody kind of give everybody space to grow.
They say that at Atlanta, plenty unity. That is true?
Yeah, everybody give everybody
even
space
in
to grow.
hip-hop space, like you'd always hear that, like they would like the New York hip-hop thing break up because everybody fighting each other. But in the Atlanta with the Futures and the Young Thugs, and they kind of came together and pushed each other, and it have that type of energy.
It's that type of energy, definitely. It's not the crabs in a barrel energy. It's more of a supportive, yes, people are going to be, we're humans, we're always going to be competitive, right? But we're also, there are a lot of collaborative efforts that's done as well. So me personally, living in New York, I lived in Virginia and Atlanta, I love Atlanta, hands down. And the only thing we do have is water. It's like Lake Lanier, but nobody wants to go there because everybody drowns for the most part. So that's
waters and like beaches. And
stuff. But other than that, there's enough. It's a good quality of life.
Yeah.
So when you come, I am hosting and taking you out.
Yeah, definitely come to Atlanta. Definitely.
Yes.
I've never been.
You would love
Atlanta, plenty Trinidadians. Like
what?
Serious?
We are everywhere. There's a Trinidad double truck that's running around in the city. There's restaurants. Yeah, I mean, it may not be like, and that's another thing Caribbean people do. They criticize.
Yeah.
So, it's not like Trinidad. Oh my gosh, it's not Trinidad.
It's not Trinidad.
Go and put some pepper sauce now. Just be grateful. We have exposure.
Yeah.
We have not just exposure. We have representation in these spaces. Like I've seen, the biggest of hookah lounges that is Caribbean inspired and Caribbean owned, and it's like these are black businesses. Like, oh gosh, yes, the oxtail not gonna be like yours, but geez, just eat the damn thing and shut up now. People need to stop with these expectations. Go out and support each other. Just support. I'm big about supporting each other, supporting black businesses, supporting our Caribbean people, community. Like that's what it's supposed to be about. I feel like people make it and then they forget that somebody supported them to get there.
Ah boy. Yeah, it's a real thing. I remember when I was doing the podcast with I think it was the same Trinidad killer, and you messaged me. I think that was the first time you ever DM'd me.
It wasn't him. It was Shan the brand.
It was Shan.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love Shan.
And you told me something. You told me that you did a few things coming up.
Yes, I did Trinidad Killer, but when we talked, it was about Shan. Because when I listened to the interview, I was like, wow.
You felt like you didn't get the respect that you deserve.
For Shan?
No, you were telling me that that you felt like you were telling me things that you did.
Oh yeah.
And then I think it was something with the fight that was going on. There was a conversation about the fight. You know, you were telling me that the fight that you was getting something I can't remember.
Well, the amount of conversation we had.
Yeah, but I just remember you was telling me about something, and it was like, you know, this, that, and the other, and I think it was something with the NBA or something you was telling me.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I used to do a lot of work with different people. So that on the entrepreneur side, I've worked with, you know, Dwight Howard from the Lakers. LeBron was on the team at that time. I've been in those spaces with players and stuff like that. So it's always like, you know, people, when you're different and you're not white or black and you're in the in-between, you know, like I'm mixed, I'm from Trinidad, but in America I'm black, I'm not a white woman, and I don't want care to be. No offense to anybody, but, you know, my grandfather is, you know, I can show you a picture, I just see him today, you know, but there's so much colorism. And in those spaces, people feel like if you're in a certain position, you're supposed to look a certain way because you're in that position. No, I've worked my ass off to get there. I worked my ass off to get there. So in those, you know, with work and stuff, sometimes we get so much, how to say, like, we get held back a lot because of the person who's holding the key. And if you're not looking a certain way or from a certain place, you could have all the credentials and stuff like that. It's just, you may not get the job or you may not get that promotion, but, you know, that is a huge factor that's happening. You know, I'm just grateful that, you know, I always try to make sure that I'm very combative. So I want to know why. Why is this, you know? If I'm qualified, why didn't I get the job or whatever the case may be? Right. You know what I mean? But I think it probably was about, that's what we talking about?
Yeah. It was that self. But I think it was Shan.
But
I think
Shan,
it was off the Shan, because Shan was talking about that same thing, you know, as a woman, and she was talking about like the way how we just treat the industry, the way how we just treat everything. She was talking about the way how we treat the promo girls, to the way how we treat the cameramen, to the way how we treat the artists backstage. And it comes all the way up now, you know, the way how we treat our journalists, you know.
Yeah, just a matter of respect. But Shan, that interview is an amazing interview.
Yeah.
And I have nothing but respect and love for Shan and her husband. And she got a lot of, it goes back to the colorism and the crap that listen, in the eyes of the white man, we are all black.
Correct.
Straight nose, couple shades different, we are all black. So people feel like you have a certain skin color, you know what I mean? And they do give her a hard time, but she's such a intelligent woman. Oh my God.
Yep.
Like she could run for president.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, she could run for president. Big up to Shan.
Yeah. Before I do the interview with her, I didn't even know like who she was to that depth. I just know she was like a social media influencer.
Yeah.
And I was seeing the hate. But I know my country. As you say, colorism is a serious thing here. Imagine that, eh?
Wow.
In a Caribbean country.
Where you know people are mixed.
People watching skin tone. Yeah, so and well, we are classism.
Yeah.
You know, it's who you think you is now. Everybody trying to be something. You know, so, but I didn't know who she was, and when I sat down with her, I was like,
and her business model is so amazing.
Very creative.
Yeah, very creative, and she's boots on the ground for the culture.
Yeah.
Like she is that's what you call boots on the ground. She's in everything. She's promoting, but you know, it's unfortunately there's a lot of people who they don't appreciate intelligence. They don't appreciate things that's different. They think that beauty's supposed to look a certain way, and it doesn't. And I haven't been to Trinidad Carnival in many, many years, but if I scroll on my social media, every one of those girls on the little cart looks the same way. It's like there is no diversity. Like, good God, everybody looks the same freaking way. Yeah. You know, but there's somebody for everybody, and there's something for everybody. Not everybody want to see those women. Somebody might want to see a bigger looking plus size woman. Not everybody needs to have a six pack.
Is that a real thing?
You know, but that is how small-minded people think when they think about beauty. So they want to represent what they think beauty is, which is this perfect, in their mind, figured woman. So guess what they do? They lose all the women who, like, shit, I want to go carnival and whoever. What about the girl who did shit on somebody's grave?
Oh, God. What's her name? Gabby Faye?
Yeah.
Yeah, she messaged me for an interview. I post it on my WhatsApp status and I say, all you tell me if to interview this person. Everybody say, KG, no.
Oh gosh.
Can't be good, what I go do? I listen to the fans, man. Yeah. They say, nah, you can't come Trinidad and shit on somebody.
Right,
You can't do with that, you can't do with that, don't do with that.
You know that content creating gets very desperate, eh?
Yeah, no.
Yeah. I know a lot of content creators and sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
See, I'm like you. And shout out to all the content creators who pull content out their ass literally and make it happen. But like for real, like we're about substance, and I feel like let's push some more things forward with substance. I like to joke and laugh and see shippiness.
Yeah.
When I catch my little buzz, what do you think I watching? All kind of shippiness on my phone.
Yeah.
But then when we get back to the real world, what are those conversations like? You know, not everything is fun and games.
Correct.
We have some serious work to do out here as humans.
Yep. Especially as Caribbean people too.
As Caribbean people, yes.
We
should set ourselves on a higher standard. We have the best carnival, the best food, the best looking woman, the best this and that. What about the best freaking mental health? What about the best, you know what I mean? Health wise.
Yep.
Overall, mental, spiritual, physical, emotional health, all those. I don't see nobody really sticking out their chest like, yeah, man, I'm happy and you know what I mean?
Yeah, like be real. They say Trinidad is the happiest place on earth.
It's funny, but so much people miserable.
But when you really think about it, the type of happiness that they're talking about is people by the bar drinking rum, you know, all these things, and all these things are distractions.
It numbs
I see
the
these
pain.
things when I see a society of alcoholics and partiers. Yes, I see it, you know, they're happy, it's a good time. But also, I see a lot of distracted people.
Yes.
People that are trying to hide the pain with party.
They numbing it,
alcohol,
yeah. And it's so much, that's what I'm saying, like...
They cannot sit with themselves.
No. That is it right there.
They had to party. You had to party.
Or drink.
Come on.
Or gamble.
You had to do it.
Or use all the money to go to every single party because they have to keep up with the Joneses or, you know.
the hardest rum.
Yeah.
You know, punch it. Yeah,
so let me ask you, what do you do when you have your low moments? If ever you have moments.
Yeah, I went through serious depression in my life. But there's one thing with me. I don't know, boy. I was always close to God.
Yes.
That is one thing too. I was always a spiritual person. Rastafari was something I was always interested in. You know, the culture of Rasta. I had Rasta something and I had you know. So I was around Rasta brethren and thing, and through my depression, I would always have techniques on how to deal with depression.
Okay.
So I was never really depressed as in the sense of had thoughts of killing myself or had thoughts of giving up my dreams. You know, it was just a dark feeling. You know, like I know I was down, but I would always, every night, like even up to this day, I don't go to sleep without holding a serious meds with myself.
Yes.
I just sit down right in this gallery and look at the sky and just 2 hours, 3 hours, I just talking to God and talking to myself. Sometimes I'm going through the worst and I'm talking to my brethren and saying, God, I know you see what's going on, you know, but I trying and I just think I practice from like a young age, you know. So it was easy for me to deal with it a certain way, you know, and with practice comes perfection, and I perfect that. So now I could go through anything. That's why this podcast is breeze for me. So everybody who feel they could really comment and thing and, hey, that can't do me nothing.
Right.
I went through the worst.
Right.
And I meditate through the worst. I was like a monk through the worst.
Wow.
You know, I was building studio, big up my brother Rasi. You know, we built our studio by ourselves. You know, 21, 22 years old, we mixing cement right over there and toting bricks in the back. And we building our studio while we depressed, you know. So that was the kind of youth men we was now.
Yeah.
So now it's easy for me to talk to the youths and them because I know exactly what they should be doing. You know, I had my peer group and all are we depressed.
Sure.
But I is the only one who holding firm. I see everybody that's dropping so clum, clum, clum. All are we depressed, all are we broke, all are we depressed, all are we just day.
Yeah.
And I is the only one who just holding firm. You know?
So if you could tell the youth, since this is a topic you don't talk about much, if you could tell the youth what you know, you have many, like you said, everybody's asked questions, but if you could tell them one thing when they're in that lowest moment, what advice would you give them?
I would tell the youth right now, as I said before, practice makes perfect, right? It makes permanent. When you practice something, you will just
you get better
fall
and
into
better.
a
Yeah.
drive, right? Everything that you start doing will always feel hard in the beginning. So even if reading the Bible might feel difficult in the beginning, but if you continue to do it, you would get into the groove of it and you would understand the word. If you talk to God every single night and make it a routine, after about the 10th, 12th day, it will start to feel right. But once you connect yourself with God, once you build a relationship, because I always tell people, just like a friendship, just like a relationship, just like anything, you need to build a connection first. I can't meet you for the first time and we just gonna be the best of friends.
Right.
You know, we have to learn each other, we have to communicate. And I talked to God for years, you know, and I made it my duty to talk to him because I always believed that if I did, he would bless my life.
Wow.
And he really
really
blessed my life. So I believed that. So any youth that are watching this, I really want them to believe. I really want them to know that it will feel difficult in the beginning, but just talk to him. Don't go to sleep without holding our meds. Or I like to smoke weed and thing. Don't smoke weed and just listen to music. Smoke weed in silence, you know, and talk to God.
And
Talk to him like a
meditate
brethren. Tell him what you want. Tell him what's on your heart. You understand? Cry. Talk to him, bro.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. But when he see that you intentionally coming to him, he would help you. You know, and I know that when you don't really believe in God too much, because a lot of people don't believe in God these days, you know. When you don't really believe too much and God never really bless your life, when somebody like me say these things, it is sound like magic. It is sound like what he talking about. But it's so real. I'm telling you, it's real, you know. So that is what get me through my mental health, my depression. It didn't happen in 6 months, it didn't happen in a year. It happened over time. I had to practice being firm, and I also had to practice being a good person because I was going through the worst things, but still being good. I know that real hard to do for people out there because you hurt, so you want to hurt people.
That is true.
You know, I never believed in that. I was hurt and did not want to hurt people because I didn't want them to feel like how I was feeling. You know, and that fucked me up even more in this life because while I was hurt, I was still putting plaster on people's wounds.
Wow.
You know, but as I say, you live good, you hold a firm relationship with God, he will bless your life, and I could attest to that. So,
amen to that.
God is the answer.
Yes.
You dig?
And
so today, do you have anything you want to tell the people?
No, I think we covered a lot.
Because I mean, you went through the same mental health issues and those type of things. So, what would you tell them to do?
What I started with was definitely being honest with myself. I had to be like, you know what, I need help. I'm sad, I'm up, I'm down, I'm angry, I'm frustrated, I'm not happy. So I had to seek happiness. And that was an internal journey. It's still going, it doesn't end, you know. But when I look back at things that I would be so pissed off at or have big back and forth, and I'm like, oh, whatever, I'm good. To the point now that I could talk to other people because I see me in them, and I'm like, listen, it's not even worth it. Don't even give people your energy. It's not even worth it. So when I could,
boy, don't give people your energy also too. Keep your energy.
And I'd be like, you know what, it's not even worth it. But I know people have to go through it. They have to go through it, but once they're willing enough to say, you know what, I need some help, when I come out on the other side, because they might still go and slash the tire. And then they'll call them like, girl, I shouldn't do that. Okay, you don't get off your chest. You didn't go to jail. There we go. And what's next, you know? So I feel like it's a journey. It's definitely, I don't have all the answers. I'm not a mental health expert. I'm an advocate.
Nobody have all the answers.
I feel like, you know, trauma is very serious that people take for granted. Like so much households have, these kids are going through trauma, and, you know, Caribbean people are so resilient. Like we are so strong because we go through so much that, you know, like I look at my kids and I'm like, oh my God, you guys are so entitled. Like, you know, water was gone and the lights was gone and my daughter almost died. You know what I mean? Like,
Corona just go into Trinidad and whoosh. Right now we could be saying, no, yeah, we in darkness.
Right. And it's like, really, that's your biggest problem, you know? So I definitely think that we all have it in us for the fight.
Yeah.
And we have to fight. If you don't fight for you, who will fight for you? I told my husband one day, I told him this, I called him and I was in such a like low space. I said, I feel like I am dying to live. Like it was just such a fight just to live, but I'm dying. I just to get to the other side of what this could look like, just to be happy, just to be a better mom, just not to be so angry with people, and not so like in my head all the time, just to flow with life. It was so hard. It was very, very hard. And to this day, like things that's worked for me, I've listened to a lot of like Dr. Joe Dispenza. I listen to Abraham Hicks. I am a big I love my gospel music. I start my morning with my gospel music. I was born and raised Catholic, but then I converted to Pentecostal throughout my life. So I have my relationship with God. I meditate, I write, I journal. Like I have to be intentional for change for myself.
Of course.
So I get little publications. I go and I listen before I go to bed. And you have to carve out time for yourself. So when I finish, cook, clean, deal with kids, finish, boom, 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 and I close my door, that 20 minutes is for me. Turn it off ringer, put in do not disturb. I meditate, I pray, and I listen to, just different publications to help you realize that it's all in your mind. And once you could control your mind, you will be able to control your life. Control your mind, you could change your life, because so much goes on here, and it messes us up.
Definitely. It's all in the mind.
It's all in the mind.
All in the mind.
So it's just little things, and you can Google. There's so much different things. Everybody have a different personality, right? So like people be like, oh my God, I can't listen to Dr. Joe Dispenza. He's so dry. He is. He's more on the science side of things, neuroscientists and energy and just different things like that. Then you have so for me, I feel like I branched out of just religion to different things where I could relate to. So I relate to it all. I see this as a big universe. Yes, there's a higher power, God. Yes, there's a God, and God is in us, and we're supposed to be like that light. We're supposed to live like that, and that's why we are gods ourselves, because we're supposed to emulate that.
Yep.
We're human, so we're gonna mess up, but if we could just lead from a heart space with 99.9% of things we do, life would be different. The world would be a different place.
Yeah. Goodness all the time.
That don't mean I won't cuss on people, eh?
Yeah, of course. No, they're still getting cuss.
You might get 3 strikes, but
Yeah.
That's how Bitch You Lucky came about.
Yeah.
The podcast, because it was
Bitch You Lucky.
Bitch You Lucky, I mash up your fucking tire in your face, But when people hear that, they laugh, right? Because they all could relate.
Correct.
But now I'm on the other side where I can tell people, like, listen, I've been there. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. So find peace with yourself and move on.
Yeah, the real thing.
And nobody is deserving of your energy. If it doesn't serve you, walk away from it.
Correct. That's something that I practicing right now too.
Okay.
Really trying to preserve my energy, because you so much of it now, I really have none to give in a negative way.
Of course.
I really have none.
You
I
grow.
can't vibrate on that frequency again.
When you could laugh at negative comments.
Yeah, correct.
Right?
That's the greatest feeling.
Right?
Yeah.
When you could laugh and be like,
yeah.
Okay, you know what? Whatever.
When you laugh at hate on a whole, any type of negative energy come your way, you can just brush it off now.
That's when you know that you're getting there. You got to one step. We're gonna keep climbing this ladder of growth, because we are here to grow.
Correct.
We are here to grow.
Can inspire others to grow. You dig? Nothing less. So Tanil, it was a blessed one.
Oh my God, this is amazing.
Big up yourself all the time.
Yes.
Yeah. You must do it again. Next time we do it in the ATL.
Yes, definitely. You'll come to my studio now.
For sure. So just keep doing your thing. Keep inspiring. And the thing go.
Thank you.
Boom.
We're out. Oh, that was so good.
Yeah, man, for sure.